Hello, second grade, and welcome to Unit 3, Week 4. Your vocabulary words for this week are, the first one is the word destroy. If you destroy something, you break it so it can't be used anymore. So think about if you had built something or you built a sandcastle at the beach and someone came and ran through your sandcastle and squashed it. They've destroyed it, right? You can't just put the pieces back together. You have to start all over again. Your second word is the word prevent. When you prevent something, you're stopping it from happening. So think about the firefighters prevented the fire from spreading to all the rooms of the house because they put it out when it was still in the first room. Or you can think about how traffic lights and stop signs help to prevent car accidents because they tell people when they're supposed to stop and when to go and helps them to take turns so that they're safe. Your next word is the word damage. When damage is when something gets either hurt or injured or messed up, something bad happened to it. So the storm caused some damage to the tree, right? It either broke it apart or maybe it knocked it over. Maybe there were really strong winds that uprooted the tree. Your next word is the word warning. A warning is a signal to show you that something dangerous is nearby. So a lot of times we'll get weather warnings if it's really, really hot outside, or if it's raining really heavily, we'll get a warning. Animals also give warnings. Rattlesnakes give warnings by shaking the rattle in their tail. So a warning is something that lets you know that there's something dangerous nearby. Your next word is the word dangerous. So something that is dangerous is something that isn't safe or it could hurt you in some way. So snakes are dangerous. People who are driving very fast, they're doing something that's dangerous, things like that. Your next word is the word harsh. When something is harsh, it's very difficult and it doesn't feel good. So think about if there was a really harsh winter, that means it was really, really cold. Maybe if people who had plants, all of their plants died from the cold. If someone speaks in a very harsh way, they're talking in a very mean or unfriendly way that makes you not feel good. Your next word is the word weather. And the weather is what it feels like outside. Is it cold? Is it warm? The weather is basically the air and the atmosphere outside. And your last word is the word event. An event is a thing that happens. So a birthday party is an event. A Eid celebration is an event. If you have Thanksgiving dinner, that's an event. If there's a class party, that's an event. All of these are just, an event is just a different way to say it's a thing that happens, right? Something that people got together for. All right, let's move into your spelling words for this week. This week, we're focusing on the long E sound and all of the different ways that we can make the long E. So your long E sound can be made with just the letter E, a double E, which is EE, EA, IE, the letter Y, or the letters EY. And you're going to see all the different variations of them here. Now pay attention, the letter Y can make the long E sound or it can make the long I sound depending on a word. So say it out loud, read it to yourself so you know which sound we're working with. Your words are the word we, has the double E in it, need, queen, mean, leaf, thief, chief, pony, keys, grow, toe, after, every, and special. For our ELA and grammar notes for this week, you guys are going to be working with plurals. So when we're talking about a regular plural, we're talking about a word that ends with an S or an ES. So there's a rule. This is something that we've covered before, so we're going to review it quickly. How do we know when we add an ES to the end of a word or when we add an S to the end of a word? Now we add an ES if our word ends with the letters S, SH, CH, X, or Z. So classes, wishes, watches, boxes, buzzes. You're hearing the is sound at the end of it, not just S. So if your word ends with any of those letters or letter combinations, you put an ES on the end of it. If your word ends with any other letters, you just put an S on the end of it. Now, sometimes our words end with a Y and we need to change it to an I. So there's a rule for that as well. If your word ends with a consonant letter, that means something that's not a vowel, right? Not A, E, I, O, or U. And then the letter Y, we change that Y into an I and then we add an ES. So fly becomes flies, FLY becomes FLIES. Library becomes libraries. Bunny becomes bunnies. So anytime your word ends with a consonant letter and then the letter Y, you change the Y to an I and then you add the ES. Now we're also going to work with antonyms. We worked with synonyms last week. Synonyms are words, remember, that have the same or similar meaning. Antonyms are words that have the opposite meaning of each other. So happy and sad, day and night, freeze and melt, laugh and cry, big and small. There's lots and lots of antonyms that you guys can think of, a lot of them that you see around you every day. So remember, an antonym means the opposite. Next, we're going to work with a very specific verb, the verb have. Now, have is a helping verb, and it has more than one form. So have can be changed into 3 different forms. It can either be have or has or had. Those all come from the same word. And there's a rule for when you're supposed to use each one. So when the subject of your sentence is singular, it's one person, place, or thing, we use the form has, H-A-S. So she has a new kitten, he has a new puppy, Anna has a new sister, Abdurrahman has a big brother. We use the word has when we're talking about a singular subject. So when the subject of our sentence, the thing that we're talking about in our sentence is just one thing or one person, we use has. Now, if the subject is plural, or if the subject is the words I or you, this is where the exception is. So if the subject is I, you, or a plural subject, then we use have. So we say, they have a new coloring book, we have a new pack of crayons, I have a blue backpack, you have a purple pen. These are places where we use the word have. So remember, if the subject is plural or the subject is I or you, we use have. If the subject is singular, anything other than I or you that's singular, we use has. And if we're talking about something that happened in the past, whether it's singular or plural for our subject, we use had. So we had a lot of fun at the beach. I had a blue umbrella. You had math class yesterday. She had to return her library books. We use had for all the different kinds of subjects that we used when we're talking about something that happened in the past. Now, the last bit of your language arts notes before we jump into your weekly stories talks about titles. Now, your grammar notes specifically say, if you look in your packet, it says to underline the title of books when you're handwriting them or to italicize them when you're typing them. You can underline them whether you're typing or handwriting them, and that keeps it more consistent. So we underline the titles of the books, and we always capitalize the first word in the title and all of the other important words that are in the title. Now remember, the first word, no matter what that first word is always capitalized. So I gave you a few examples of some book titles: Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, The Mouse and the Motorcycle, Where the Wild Things Are. These are 3 different book titles. Now, if you notice in the first one where it says Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the words and the are lowercase because they're not considered important words in the title, and they're also not at the very beginning of the title. Over here in The Mouse and the Motorcycle, you also see the word the in the beginning and it's capitalized. The only reason it's capitalized is because it's the first word of that title. Because when you see it later on in the title, it's lowercase again. Same thing over here where we say Where the Wild Things Are. The word the is lowercase because it's in the middle and it's not considered an important word in the title. Now, I did leave you some notes down here at the bottom, just something to keep in the back of your head, because these are going to come up in other grade levels as well. As you move up in grade level, you're going to see these again. So the words that we do not capitalize unless they're the first word. It's the first word, it's always capitalized. But these are the words we don't capitalize if they're later in the title. The word a, an, and the, we call these articles. You don't need to remember that right now, but just keep it in the back of your head. The words for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. These are called coordinating conjunctions or fanboys. We touched on this very, very briefly in Unit 1. The words at, around, by, after, along, for, from, of, on, to, with, and without. These are all called prepositions. And unless any of these words come at the very beginning of a title, you don't need to capitalize them. So let's go ahead and jump into your weekly stories. And your weekly story this week is called Wild Weather. And this is an expository text. Now remember, expository texts teach us something. They're giving us information about something. So we're going to learn something from it. It's not a fictional story. It's telling you about something real.
Genre: expository text. Wild Weather by Seymour Simon. Essential question: how does weather affect us? Read about how stormy weather affects people and places. Air is all around us. The air moves and winds blow. Changes in the air are called weather. Sometimes weather is sunny and fair. Other times it's cloudy and rainy. Storms are sudden, harsh changes in the weather. Thunderstorms. A thunderstorm is a heavy rain shower. In a few minutes, a big thunderstorm can drop millions of gallons of water. Hundreds of thunderstorms pop up every second somewhere around the world. These storms have lightning. Thunder is the sound of lightning. Lightning. Lightning is a giant spark of electricity. A bolt of lightning is 6 to 10 miles long, but only as thick as your finger. Lightning is hotter than the surface of the sun. A bolt of lightning can be very dangerous and cause harm. The heat of a lightning bolt can set fire to a tree or a house. Would you like to know how far away the lightning you see is? Count the number of seconds between the lightning flash and the clap of thunder. Every 5 seconds equals 1 mile away. If thunder booms a second or two after you see lightning, that's a warning. The sound means that the lightning bolt is very close to you. Diagram: how lightning works. Diagram labels: cold air sinks, hot air rises. Caption: electrical charges build up between the ground and cloud. Tornadoes. Thunderstorms sometimes give birth to a string of tornadoes or twisters. Dark, twisting tornadoes reach downward from the storm. The winds in a tornado whirl hundreds of miles per hour. They can lift heavy trucks into the air. They can destroy houses by blowing away their roofs. On May 22, 2011, a tornado a mile wide ripped through the city of Joplin, Missouri. The huge tornado hurt many people. It destroyed buildings and damaged most of the city. Caption: the tornado damaged this house in Joplin, Missouri. Watches and warnings. An early warning on television, radio stations, and the internet helps to save lives. An early alert is called a tornado watch. A tornado warning means that a tornado has been seen. A tornado warning means that you should find shelter. Stop and check. Ask and answer questions. What does a tornado warning mean? Go back to the text to find the answer. Hurricanes. Hurricanes are the biggest storms of all. They hurt more people and destroy more buildings than all other kinds of storms put together. Hurricanes happen during the summer and early fall. They form over warm ocean waters. Then they move and may reach land. Hurricanes stretch for hundreds of miles. Their dangerous winds blow at speeds between 74 and 200 miles per hour. Waves from the storms may wash away shorelines, boats, and houses. Stop and check. Ask and answer questions. When do hurricanes happen? Go back to the text to find the answer. In August 2005, Hurricane Katrina became one of the worst storms in history. Many people in Louisiana were left homeless because of Katrina. The damage to buildings in the city of New Orleans cost billions of dollars. Rain from Hurricane Katrina flooded this street in New Orleans. Blizzards. Hurricanes are warm weather storms. Blizzards are huge winter snowstorms. 2 or 3 inches of snow fall every hour. Temperatures are below freezing. Strong winds blow fiercely. In February 2007, a Valentine's Day blizzard hit the eastern half of North America. Heavy snowfalls blanketed much of the country. Some places had up to 4 feet of snow. Millions of homes lost power for days. Thousands of people were stuck in airports and on snowy highways. No one can prevent a storm. Stormy weather can happen anywhere. Someday, you and your family may be in a big storm. If you know what to do in advance, you will be safer when the next storm strikes. Safety tips. Here are some storm safety tips for you and your family. Stay inside during strong storms. Keep a storm safety kit with bottled water and flashlights handy. Stay away from windows. Stay away from downed power lines.
Okay, so that takes us through to the end of our first story in our literature anthology book. Now we're going to go through this short reading passage, another expository text about predicting the weather.
Genre: expository text. Compare texts. Read about tools people use to predict the weather. Can you predict the weather? People want to know what the weather is like. They want to know how hot or cold it is outside. They want to know if it will rain or snow. They need to know about a dangerous weather event, such as a thunderstorm. What is the weather like now? Some tools tell people what the weather is like. People can use these tools at home. A thermometer tells the temperature. It measures how hot or cold the air is. A wind vane shows the wind's direction. The wind vane spins and shows where the wind is coming from. If the wind direction changes, the weather will change too. A wind vane has an arrow. The wind blows the arrow and shows the direction of the wind. The thermometer has red liquid in a tube. It moves up when it is hot outside. How do scientists predict the weather? Some tools tell what the weather is like right now, but other tools tell what the weather will be like in the future. Meteorologists are people who study weather. They use tools to predict the weather. Their predictions are called a forecast. Meteorologists use radar, a tool that uses waves of energy to track the weather. A radar picture shows if rain, snow, or big storms are coming. Radar helps us stay safe. It gives a warning when a bad storm is coming. It shows the speed and direction a storm is moving. Thunderstorm safety. Do. Stay indoors. Stay away from hilltops and open fields if outdoors. Stay low if outside. Don't stand under a tree. Go in or near water. Stay on your bike. The radar picture shows where big storms are. The red parts show severe weather. Genre: expository text. Tornado. Essential question: how does weather affect us? Read about how tornadoes form and how weather affects our lives. What is a tornado? The sky is dark far away. Something moves down from the clouds. It spins across the land. It sounds like a very loud train. A tornado is coming. A tornado is a spinning cloud. It is shaped like a funnel. Its winds can reach 300 miles per hour. That is faster than a race car. The spinning air pulls things up. It can toss a car in the air. It can even destroy or ruin a house. A tornado can be dangerous. It can cause harm to people and places. When a funnel cloud reaches the ground, it becomes a tornado. How does a tornado form? A tornado is a kind of weather. Weather is the condition of the air. Most tornadoes begin as a kind of weather called a thunderstorm. Thunderstorms are harsh rainstorms with thunder and lightning. These rough storms have high winds and heavy rain. When high winds spin and touch the ground, a tornado is born. Most tornadoes do not stay on the ground for long. When they do, they can cause a lot of damage or harm. A tornado is a big event. Where do most tornadoes happen? More tornadoes happen in the United States than anywhere in the world. Most of them form in the middle part of our country. Scientists think this might be because warm, wet air from the Gulf of Mexico crashes with the cool, dry air from Canada. This area is known as Tornado Alley. Tornadoes can destroy trees, houses, and property. How do tornadoes affect people? Tornadoes affect people and towns in many ways. Weak tornadoes break branches from trees or damage signs. Strong tornadoes can destroy buildings. People who live in areas where there are many tornadoes always think about the weather. They listen to the radio and watch news reports on television. Schools provide tornado drills so children can practice being safe in the event of a tornado. Teams of people work together to repair the damage caused by a tornado. How can you stay safe? There are ways to prevent or stop harm during a tornado. News reports use the words tornado warning to give notice that a tornado has been seen. Following safety rules can help everyone stay safe during a tornado. People work together to clean up after a tornado. Ways to stay safe. 1. Listen to weather reports. 2. Find shelter in a basement or room without windows. 3. Stay away from windows. 4. Listen to directions from a parent or teacher. Caption.
All right, let's go over our comprehension strategy and skill for the week. Our comprehension strategy is to ask and answer questions. So anytime you come across information you're not sure about, ask and answer questions along the way.
Ask and answer questions. When you read, asking questions helps you think about parts of the story and understand key details in the selection. Find text evidence. As I read page 232 of Tornado, I ask myself, what is a thunderstorm? I will look for the answer to this question. How does a tornado form? A tornado is a kind of weather. Weather is the condition of the air. Most tornadoes begin as a kind of weather called a thunderstorm. Thunderstorms are harsh rainstorms with thunder and lightning. These rough storms have high winds and heavy rain. I read that a thunderstorm is a rainstorm with high winds, thunder, and lightning. Main idea and key details. The main idea is the most important point an author makes about a topic. Key details tell about and support the main idea. Find text evidence. As I read pages 231 through 232 of Tornado, I learned that tornadoes have powerful winds and can cause a lot of damage. These details support main idea of the text. Graphic organizer. Detail. A tornado has very powerful winds. Detail. A tornado can cause damage to people and places. Expository text. Tornado is an expository text. Expository text gives information about a topic, includes text features. Find text evidence. I know tornado is an expository text because it gives information about tornadoes. It also has text features. Text features. A sidebar gives information that is separate from the main text. Subheads tell you what a section of text is about. Antonyms. Antonyms are two words that have opposite meanings. Words such as hot and cold are antonyms. Find text evidence. I see the author used the antonyms wet and dry to show how wet air and dry air come together to make a tornado. Scientists think this might be because warm, wet air from the Gulf of Mexico crashes with the cool, dry air from Canada.
All right, that'll take us to the end of our notes and stories for this week's second grade. If you have any questions, definitely let me know. Otherwise, I hope you have an amazing day. Take care.